Hey, look who it is. Cathie Wood of ARK Invest. Soon to once again be the talk of the town. Spoiler alert. Why? Growth stocks surge, economic prosperity in the United States, an absolute boom over the next 4 years. You can count on it. Talking Tesla and the impact of a second Trump term on the company. Oh, speaking of Tesla, stock up another 8% today, screaming past the $300 per share mark, closing $321.22 per share. That means over the last 5 trading days, Tesla stock up over 30%. Next stop, new all-time high of $420.69 per share. Last 6 months, up almost 80%. David Sachs had a very interesting observation. You'll know him from the All In podcast. Tesla up 35% this week, now even more. That was a lawfare discount. The stock market was pricing in the viciousness of Democrats. Now, he may have a slight point, probably doesn't account for the entire move, but worth pondering. Just a few months, the active hostility from the current Democrat administration is out the fucking window because Daddy Trump's back for a second term. And with Tesla stock having absolutely ripped on news of a second Trump term, congratulations to the POTUS. Thought it was worth reminding everybody of this important fact. As I posted on X months ago, my brain is too small to time the market, so I don't try. In this post, I included the 154 separate times I purchased Tesla stock since February 2016 and the price I paid. Also noting, see you in 2042. Sounds like this guy has a long-term investment horizon. Wait, what did I say? By then, I believe people will tell me how lucky I was to be buying Tesla with a market cap under $1 trillion. Well, rip, it's just past the $1 trillion mark. So Tesla buy prices 2016 to 2024. So it looks like this guy just buys, and then continues to buy, and there's occasional periods of time where Tesla stock essentially goes vertical. It was about $10, $11, $12 per share, maybe 13, 14, 15, and surges to about 50, 60, 150, 160, comes back down, 130, then near 300, then dives. It looks like this guy just kept buying when he had money instead of trying to time the market. What strange behavior. When was this posted? March 25th, 2024. March 25th. Oh, $172 per share. The stock up 86% since, close to doubling. I think this meme exemplifies the lesson perfectly. As you can see on screen now, only a midwit thinks they're smart enough to time the market. And there's plenty of them around. That's how the Wall Street fee machine generates so much money on activity. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, try to time the market. You understand, by the way, how the finance media works, right? They're like an appendage of the Wall Street fee machine. The whole purpose of the finance media is to generate activity. If people with a combination of a small brain and or ADD and or bipolar in terms of their buying activities and selling activities in the stock market didn't exist, if they just bought and held, there'd be so few fees generated from brokerages on transactions. The whole thing would just probably collapse. Now that I'm done admitting my brain's too small to try and time the market so I don't even bother, let's see what Cathie Wood has to say about a Trump administration and Tesla.
Cathie, shares of your flagship fund, the ARK Innovation ETF, surged more than 8% on Wednesday. It was the best day in more than a year. Part of the risk-on trade that we saw on optimism of a second term for Donald Trump in the White House. And that's where I want to start with you, because when you were back on with us in October, you indicated, without actually saying the former president's name, that you preferred a President Trump over President Harris, strictly from the standpoint of the candidate who you saw would ease the regulatory environment. So here we are.
Now, look, I'm going to go out on a limb here, a very long limb, and suggest that it's extremely likely, of course, I don't know, and I'm happy for Cathie to correct the record, that won't be necessary, that while Cathie was explicitly describing the fact that from an economic point of view, a Trump presidency obviously was the no-brainer, but I got a funny feeling that on practically every single policy of any note, she's probably also on Team Orange Man Bad, but she won't say that because she doesn't want to trigger and offend too many of her customers. Of course, I don't know, but I've listened to a lot of what Cathie's got to say. Anyway, moving on.
What does another Trump administration mean for you and the companies that ARK invests in?
Okay, well, thank you for having me on your show, Tim. Yes, regulation, critical. I think the regulations that have been creeping into the system, actually, they started to creep in. They've just flooded the system and really gummed it up. So the biggest regulatory issues have been around the SEC, especially when it comes to digital assets or crypto legislation, and the FTC, as it relates to M&A activity. I think both there are going to be big changes there. And that is going to be the beginning, I think, of a lot of regulatory changes. In his first administration, President Trump basically said, for every regulation you want to introduce, anyone in my administration, you must get rid of two. I think it's going to be maybe more dramatic than that this time around. And I also think having Elon Musk, who I think today announced that he'd like to name a new department, the Department of Government Efficiency, get that, DOGE, Doge. I think he's going to come into the administration. I don't think he'll be a formal part of the administration. He'll be more in an oversight role, as I understand. Yeah.
Well, hey, Cathie, I want to jump in here because you mentioned a few things that I want to follow up on. One is Elon Musk. Have you talked to Elon since the election?
No, I have not talked to him since the election. I did see on X that he was part of the family as they were taking the picture around President Trump's acceptance speech. So, I know he's obviously had a tremendous impact on the election. I think he had X made a big difference, and his ideas around government efficiency, which will revolve importantly around technology. Artificial intelligence is doing wonders for the most bureaucratic organizations out there. We know from Palantir that it is having a tremendous impact on insurance companies, underwriting process timelines dropping from 2 weeks to 3 hours. And even in the military, Maven, Palantir's working on Maven with the DoD for targeting the enemy. They have shrunk that department. Don't need as many people. They've gone from 2,000 to 20 people.
Right.
Which it's pretty amazing what's going on. And I think we'll see a lot of attrition. Any employee leaving the government probably will not be replaced.
Okay.
I don't think he'll do. I just took it up. I don't think he'll do $2 trillion in government spending savings in 1 year. That might be a 5 to 10 year. And I think between technology and attrition and lower regulations, maybe the abolition of certain departments, that they'll go a long way.
So you don't see him serving a formal role, but still overseeing some sort of Department of Government Efficiency in an informal way? Help me understand what you see him doing, and whether or not that could be some sort of threat to, he's a very busy man.
Yes, he's an unbelievable, he's the inventor of our age. I think I said that in 2015 for the first time when I was on your show with Carol Masser at the time. He is the inventor of our age, and he comes into a problem, assesses it with first principles thinking, doesn't care how things have been done, and comes back with, ingenious solutions to big problems, whether it's autonomous mobility in the autonomous taxi space, or in the healthcare space, Neuralink. He's in the social network space, X, in A.
So I just got to take a moment here. Cathie was saying a lot of great stuff. Totally agree with all of her points, but she mentions X, right? The quote social media company. In case you guys have a short memory or weren't really listening closely at the time, the truly hilarious reactions from sentient hair gel in a suit managing money for investors, supposed experts with technology, finance media analysts, almost universally derided this purchase as either a waste of money or doomed to fail. Importantly, their reasoning as follows. Well, Elon Musk may understand rockets and cars, but he doesn't understand people, therefore it's going to fail. These are the kind of comments you hear from people whose ego is far larger than their brain. By the way, we're now going to look at some data, not opinions or feelings or emotions, but actual data. How is X performing? Well, the legacy media, more accurately known as the hate stream media, or even more accurately as the fake news, saw a 25% plummet in viewership of their election coverage compared to 2020. That's massive. Meanwhile, global all-time high platform usage occurred on X, an increase of 15.5% on new user signups, and 43% increase on signups during the vote counting process. This chart illustrating things quite dramatically. Global user seconds on X peaking during the election. Obviously, this is a massive event, and obviously it's going to drive a lot of short-term traffic and interest. However, a huge number of the users who signed up during the election are going to stick around and continue to use the platform. And X, like Tesla, does not exist in a vacuum. The fake news saw a 25% plunge in viewership versus 2020 covering the election. Where did those people go? A percent of them, a fraction, maybe a large fraction, ended up on X. They ain't going back to the fake news. No, but actually, on screen now, we're looking at viewerships since 2002, roughly a 20-year period up until about 2022, for fake news outlets. Does anyone notice a trend? Viewerships having approximately halved, maybe in the best case, down about a third over that period of time. And again, they continue to plunge. Where are these people going? Now, to be clear, X has been breaking records for user seconds, signups, and activity from the moment Musk bought the platform. This is not a one-off anomaly. The platform is growing, gaining users, becoming more relevant, offering new features and functionality. And still, it's early days. One final point I'd like to make on this. Per my post on X, this was the last election over which the legacy media had any influence. 4 years from now, they'll be 100% irrelevant. And they did it to themselves. And remember, people abandoning the hate stream media, most of them are going somewhere. A large slice of them to X. Let me explain what happened here. The collapse of the hate stream media was already underway. We've just looked at the data. But they decided to speedrun the destruction of their credibility, completely destroying any remaining shreds of credibility among people, at least with a brain cell, out of sheer desperation in repeating hoaxes about Trump, making no change to the rhetoric about Trump after someone tried to take him out and so on. So here's what's happening. There's a small subset of people over age 65 whose brains are completely ossified. Not everybody, but many. And their habits aren't going to change. 30 years ago, they trusted the news. They're going to trust the news until the day they die. It's been actually quite embarrassing to see some fairly prominent public intellectuals fall for some of the hoaxes being repeated about Trump. I won't name names, but man, embarrassing. But when you're 80 plus years old, you've trusted the media for decades, why would you have any reason to think anything's changed? So forget the old people. But guess what? You can only be a viewer of a media outlet while he's still alive. I don't want to be too grim, but these people aren't going to be around forever. All it takes is somebody seeing a truly egregious lie repeated, a hoax portrayed by the media, to do some digging, for some friend to send them a link on X and go, hey, you dickhead, this isn't actually what was said. Listen to the whole thing on X. And if their brain still works, their brain goes, wait, why would they intentionally mislead me about something so egregious? Why would they perpetrate this hoax? Why would they lie, knowing that they were lying to me? Should I still continue to trust them? Next minute, this person shifts and begins getting their news from the ground source as opposed to being told what they should think about things, events, and people. Now look, some people are still too far gone. I'm not saying every single person on earth is going to abandon the hate stream media, but most will. And as I said here, during this election cycle, the hate stream media speedrun the destruction of their credibility. So egregious and outrageous with the lies and hoaxes, more and more people are going to realize. Just keep it in mind, right? If you're a logical person, you learn that more than half of the people in the United States voted for a fascist / Nazi / whatever, right? All the bullshit they've been saying about the guy. Unless you're completely and utterly brain dead and or just extremely pompous, you think to yourself, hang on, surely more than half of the entire country couldn't actually have voted for the worst person on earth, the second coming of Hitler. How could this happen? Let me investigate all these claims and beliefs I have about the guy that I've been told over and over from the fake news. You got half a brain cell, you dig and go, oh, wait, they lied to me about everything. Wow, how could I possibly trust the mainstream media again? By the way, you can't. So amazingly, not only did the best possible outcome occur for Tesla, Trump being elected, but the best possible outcome for X also happened because the media just completely destroyed any remaining credibility they had. You have to be a moron to still trust news outlets, quote unquote news, that you have discovered repeatedly, egregiously, and shamelessly lied over and over and over and over to you.
AI, XAI, and a lot of people say, and SpaceX, of course, the entire exploration, going to Mars. I think a lot of people are I can't believe he can do this. But again, he cuts to the quick, and first principles thinking, and surrounds himself with brilliant people who really want to solve the hardest problems in the world. And that's part of the secret to his success. Very high standards, and people who want to be held accountable to very high standards and want to really transform the world.
Now, I wanted to wrap up today's video with one final comment regarding hubris, arrogance, small brain syndrome, and timing the market. On screen now, April 23rd, 2024, from Tesla boom mama Alexandra. She posted the number of Tesla shares held in a few different ETFs. Of note, one of the more vocal Tesla supporters a few years ago, Ross Gerber's GK fund, with a peak holding of Tesla shares of a whopping 8,000 shares in the whole fund in early 23, having sold down to just under 1,000 shares by late April 2024. April 2024. Oh, so around $142 per share. I mean, can you make this shit up? No, you cannot. I'm just going to, one more time, see that for April 7th, 2024. That data was current until about this point. We don't know exactly where it was. Meanwhile, some guy with 3 first names reposted that data from Alexandra and wrote, over this period, I have added about as many Tesla shares as the GK ETF sold from its peak of 8,000 to around 1,000. Of course, I am just a dumb YouTuber with a bad haircut. Both of those things are true. Who doesn't wear a suit and will deeply regret this decision in 5, 10, 15 and 20 plus years. Robotaxi, schmobotaxi. My brain is too small to understand what a terrible mistake I've made. Plus, I'm a deluded Tesla fanboy who can't think clearly. And on screen, this guy with 3 first names took the liberty of adding his Tesla share count. Now, just to be clear, this blue line with ARK Invest on the right, given the sheer number of shares ARK holds, a little over 5 million at the time, but everyone else is on the left. So I just wanted to put things in perspective. The entire GK fund at its peak had about 8,000 Tesla shares, then sold down to just under 1,000. And if I scroll up and up and up and up, here's that guy with 3 first names ownership. At the same time, the GK fund was selling down. So too, the future fund, he appeared to just keep buying. Now again, I'm just going to do this one more time. 7th of April, 2024. And as far as I'm aware, neither of these funds began buying immediately after. So somewhere around the actual 12-month low, these funds also were around their 2.5, 3-year low ownership of Tesla, which has soared 120 odd % since. The lesson, most of the time, your brain is probably too small to time the market. But is it big enough to realize that and to not even try? You know how many Tesla shares I've sold over this entire period of time? None. I just keep buying. There's been a lot of ups and downs along the way. And if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you've heard me warn repeatedly. This is exactly the kind of shit that happens with Tesla stock. How many times have you seen me run over the chart and go, look, doubled and then collapsed 40%, and then doubled, then collapsed, then tripled, it happens. I've yet to meet somebody who actually genuinely does have a brain big enough to successfully time the market. So if you, like me, are just a small brain dunce who isn't smart enough to time the market, my question is, why even try? I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, but I do have a high confidence prediction over the next 4 years. Tesla shareholders, not traders and small brain timers, are going to be very happy indeed. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. Plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month's supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game's improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.